Good.
Good morning. Thank you. I saw that. At our church, I guess you're gonna have a graveside. They said we should talk. Their daughters at our church.
Debbie's coming into town. I'm going to Friday. Debbie's coming into town to stay with us. She's going to the services, so we're not going to. That was too bad.
Neat lady.
I wish we could have gotten.
Know her, yeah. Oh yeah, she's a great person.
It is warm in here. I heard you say it was warm.
Apologize, the air system was shut down, but power glitch or something.
Oh, what?
The power was off on our
At least
air.
that was part of our saving power.
It is
Saving
our
power.
At least it happened
And
on
you've
a
got
cool
us
day.
straight to closed session.
Imagine just happened, it was
You're
100.
still going to go to the state closed session.
You know when we had the 100 on Saturday?
I thought there was something with my air conditioner coming over here and looked at the rearview mirror.
We had absolutely no air quality sicknesses.
Was that,
Thought it
is that the
cold.
Saturday?
No, I didn't
Oh, I was in the Bay Area, thank you.
I think a good time to go. I was.
Client request, put a note on it anyway, that I handed to you.
Hey,
Response, so response. It's also managed with ERA.
You're on the mic.
We were very comfortable.
Looking at the windows in the car, sure enough, it was nice.
How did you do that off?
Very nice.
Oh, it's a new person. Wasn't it Steve Berkey?
Late yesterday, opened up all the doors. Got a bunch of people living out there in the CRV not wanting us to fart with their plan.
That one.
I can feel it.
They live out in the CRV not wanting us to fart with their plan.
I can feel it.
They want their new
We got a
roads and
fan, that's
sewer.
what I'm feeling.
Oh, that was fan.
Yeah. Hey, that's great.
It's kind of. Great, a lot of sand.
Supposed to get in for you guys.
Thank you so much.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful entrance.
Good morning. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We are going to do something rather probably unusual today. We need to make a conference call, a closed session conference call, so we're going to adjourn to closed session and we hopefully be right back.
Mr. Chairman, those are items A through D as listed on your closed session agenda. running, thank God.
Good.
Yeah, haven't been up and running for 2 meetings, so you and, sorry to do that.
That's okay.
That was probably not very professional. You and Kristen are wearing kind of like this similar top today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the crinkly material thing.
The one you can't tell if it's wrinkled or not.
Yeah.
It's my kind of top.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Michelle said, no, we didn't, I didn't. And she said, supervisor.
But she has.
Good.
I gave her a couple. I have some here, you want it? I thought he had a first. I guess. Vice President, student Vice President. And they need music and stuff. And that.
Here's some background.
They have, Keith Douglas in uniform. He's got a kid in the back row, Jared, who is so good that we hired him. And so he's done in school. He's going to work in the sheriff's department.
Oh,
So,
really? Nepotism.
well, yeah,
That's so much of this can.
he's not really.
Douglas.
No, he's a supervisor.
But it's just,
No. Just that's who he's assigned to. But anyway, wonderful filming.
Over here.
If I did, I was thinking about something else. I misspoke. But you know, if you wanted to be able to film something,
How my desk likes.
you know, they could be touch and go.
are they going to present them in some way today, or are,
Yes.
are they just going to
Yeah,
stand
so you
up?
get some visuals. They'll talk about them. The kid may come and talk about it. It's not really my presentation. I think that
But the
they have-
supervisors aren't going to come down to the pit and do anything. They'll just
No, they'll just talk to them and stuff. So that's kind of what's going on there.
Thanks, Eric.
Just giving him copies of this.
Okay,
This is
great.
something on the
Oh, the
connection
career thing?
case,
Okay, great. Thank you. You're like, yo. Oh, they're starting late today.
What's that?
They're starting late. I was on the phone forever. Alicia's gonna wait and see.
Still got to go.
What? Yeah, I would assume we have to go there anyway.
See, that's the thing is that if we want to get there, if it comes in new. Right?
What time does Dennis want us there? Did you already talk to him about that? I'd call him.
I didn't see anything.
Calling Alicia? I can page Dennis.
We have,
Okay, well, I'm going to start. Okay, thank you for your patience. We'll move to item 1, a presentation given by the Workforce Investment Department.
Good morning, Chairman Nishida, members of the board, CAO, council. I really appreciate this opportunity. Adam Peck, from Administrator of the Tulare County Workforce Investment Department. I really appreciate the opportunity to highlight a successful program, the Career Connections program, that's been a collaborative partnership between the County of Tulare, the Tulare County Workforce Investment Board, and other partnering agencies to both serve the youth of this county and to provide a pipeline of future employees for the county. A little bit of the history. This used to be called the CAO Summer Youth Program that ran for a number of years, but several years back, due to decreased funding, was suspended, and then beginning last year, the program was resurrected as a partnership jointly funded by the Tulare County Workforce Investment Board and the County of Tulare, and administered by the Workforce Investment Department, who we have our background is in administering employment programs, and specifically background in youth. The goals of the program were to provide work-based learning experiences for county youth in a way that were meaningful, real-world experience, not to provide make work, find work for kids to do and put them back in a corner, to increase the skills and experience of the youth involved, and, as I said, to provide a pipeline to county jobs. And we've had a lot of success with that. Some of the highlights of the outcomes, 13 county departments were involved in the placement of county youth, with a total of 90 summer work experience jobs. And though those summer youth experiences have just ended, already 2 of those youth have been hired, one from the Sheriff Department, one from Health and Human Services Agency. And there are a number that are in the hiring process competing for jobs. So these are young people already making their way into the county workforce with a few summer hours of experience under their belt. But before passing it on to Donna Caudell, who's the program coordinator for the program out of our department, I'd like to acknowledge some of the partners in the program. If we could have just stand in the audience, Carolyn Rose and her staff from CSET, who placed many of the youth into this program. They're here to stand. And then Martha Falcone and her staff at the C program, which is part of Office of Education. And it's through our contracts and a collaboration with these partners that the youth who are going to be acknowledged, who are in the audience as well, have gotten the opportunities to get into these work experience positions. Also, that we received a great deal of support from Tulare County Human Resources and Development Department in helping with the job openings and coordinating the opportunities that existed, and then obviously connecting these youth to real employment opportunities once those work experiences are done. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Donna Caudell, who will talk a little bit more about the program goals and what's been achieved by the program.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Donna Caudell. I am the program coordinator for youth programs at the Tulare County Workforce Investment Department. And in deference to time, I'm not going to take a whole lot of your time because I know the big part of the program is coming up. But I wanted to tell you a tiny bit about the nuts and bolts of this thing. How does it actually work? How do we recruit our young people? Actually, we contract with C and CSET to do the program, and they do all of the groundwork. They recruit through our local schools, primarily the career centers, through referrals from other agencies in the county and individuals. Word of mouth, that's huge with kids. It's like jungle drums,
You mean on their cell phones and text messaging, right?
Texting, cell phones, all modern technology, yeah. And young people who were here last year and are coming back and sharing with their friends and their siblings and so on. and walk-ins. They walk right in off the street. And CSET staff going out and looking for these kids, running ads, flyers, and so on. So who are they? They're youth that are 16 through 21 years of age, residents of Tulare County, legal right to work in the United States. And we like them to have at least a general career interest in human services fields. Early on, it could be a fleeting interest, but that we'll take what we get. We do look at income a tiny little bit, but that's mostly an administrative, fiscal function, so we can determine which pot of money pays for their work experience. Beyond that paperwork function, nobody except us knows who anybody is. It's a very transparent program. Adam talked to you a little bit about the goals, and work experience is primarily it, to have meaningful, real-world work experiences. We want our young people to come away with an idea of what the workplace looks like in reality, what it means to work and how it feels and what it's like to have to get up in the morning and those kinds of things. We want them to gain some skills, expand their knowledge, build that resume. We definitely are looking at a pipeline from our young people into county careers and jobs. We had a number of departments working with us, 13 departments, 90 different jobs. And by the way, CNCSET become the employers of record when we contract with them. So they handle all the payroll, they handle workers' comp, liability, the whole ball of wax that we just shift it right on down. They paid the young people $7.50 an hour, which is minimum wage. We always go with California minimum wage, for 120 hours of work experience. Most of them are finished. I don't think we have any still working now. Adam mentioned that 2 of them have been hired already, and I found out this morning we have at least 4 more in the pipeline of the hiring process. So they're not on board yet, but we're looking at it. So it works. It works. The work experience sites were in Orosi, Dinuba, Visalia, Tulare, Exeter, and Porterville. We also do enrichment workshops. Those are prior to the program starting. They're like little seminars, 10 to 14 hours total, and every kid goes through it. And we talk about, that's one time we get to introduce county job and hiring process, just so they know. We talk about what it means to work in 21st century American jobs, how to be competitive, what skills are required, and of course, what education. We talk about labor market. We talk about work ethics, big deal. We talk about resume writing, filling out applications, interviewing. And then once you've got the job, how do you retain it? Attitude, taking direction, dressing, and so on. And there are more things, but that's primarily it. Our partners are, well, Health and Human Services, HRD, has helped us tremendously in connecting with department heads and HR folks and setting up those jobs. Our interim CAO was very helpful in encouraging this and supporting us. And our service providers do all the groundwork. I mean everything, from recruiting to mentoring to training to monitoring the work sites, etc. And then what's really critical are our supervisors in the departments. They do all the training. They are really the basis, these co-workers of ours, for how successful this program is. They mentor the youth, they train the youth, they supervise the youth, and they are the experience that they get with the county. And that's all I have to share this morning, unless you want a great deal of detail. And now I'm sure you want the real piece of the program, the heart of it, the thing that counts, our young people. Come on, gang. Up. We only have a few talking today, but if you want to talk to the rest of them, feel free. And the staff of CNCSET are here if you have any questions. They're a little shy. They're not real thrilled with doing this. And if it had not been for the bribery.
Are they on the clock? Yeah.
They are not on the clock, unfortunately. Well, one of them is. This guy is.
Good morning. I was hired on at the Sheriff's Department down personnel training. My lieutenant, Douglas. Can't hear him very well.
Lift up the.
Could you lift the mic up? Okay.
That good?
State your name and
I'm Jared Verbeek. I was hired on at the Sheriff's Department. I don't really know where to start, but CSAP really helped me. It was my first job, well, as an intern. Just helped me gain the work experience, confidence that I can actually go out there and start working. I actually really like the people. I actually like the environment, and so that's why I actually turned in my application to be hired on there. They really helped me learn faxing, filing, copying. I type out letters, I answer multiple phone lines, do a lot of things just to take off a load off them, because actually that's like one of the more, I guess, active, busiest offices there. Actually, my cousin actually worked in CSET, and my friend did too, and they both really loved the environment. So, you have confidence that you're not going to be placed in a really bad environment from CSET, or you're just going to hate it. And, I don't know much else to say, but you guys want to ask questions? Or?
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have to be afraid, only the one on that end bites.
Good morning to all of you guys. My name is Maria Uribe. I'm from Tulare. I just graduated. This was my senior year. I graduated from Tulare Western High School. I started at the Sea Youth program 2 years ago, last summer, and I really liked it. It was a really good experience. So I had a normal job throughout the year, and during the summer I decided to go back to CSEC because I really liked the experience. I started again this summer at the same spot as the same site as last year, which was at the Health and Human Services Agency. I had the great opportunity to work with Jeff Blackman and Dora Salazar as my supervisors. I worked at the imaging department. It was a really great experience. I learned how to wake up on time, get to work on time. I tried. I had a great chance of working in 8 hours a day, so I was able to see how hard a full-time job can be. They kept me busy, splitting cases, filing, and everything there's to it. Everybody was really helpful, very nice. I learned that asking questions is not as embarrassing or as scary as it seems. It's actually the right thing to do because your supervisors and counselors are always there to help you. I really enjoyed it. I felt as if I didn't feel if I was just part of a youth person there helping them. I felt as if I was part of the group. My coworkers were amazing. I was able to realize how great elderly people can be, not just the young kids. I really enjoyed it. I didn't let everything was really great. I'm still keeping in touch with them, with most of them. I loved it so much that I'm applying for the county because my supervisors told me that I might have a chance for it. And I was really impressed, and none of this could have happened if it wouldn't have been for the Sea Youth program, which I am really thankful because they don't just focus on helping you work. They focus on your school, how you're doing. If you need any help with any other concerns, like your grades, like anything that you need help on, they're always there. They're always giving you a call to see how you're doing. Marilyn was actually my counselor, and for her, I can say that she was really amazing. She was always there for any concerns that I had. She would call up and check, how is everything working out good at your site, and do you need any help with resumes, with your school? Are you going to college? She was always very interested in me, and as well as everybody else at the Sea Youth program. They created that friendly environment that you're searching for, not because I've tried other employments that will help you get employment, and this is probably the friendliest environment that I've ever been at. And just the fact that they're concerned about you, that's the fact that helps you keep on going because you know that there's somebody else that cares. And I'm very thankful to every single one of them and to all of you guys that made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew Bell. I'm a senior at Tulare Western. I worked at RMA Mail and print department, and what we did, we just sorted mail and filed them, and it was a great experience because it was my first job, and I feel like I'm more mature in being able to know what to expect. And I got my driver's license so during the summer, and I just driving to work. It was fun. And the Sea Youth program, it was great because I think without them I wouldn't have got a job, and it made it a lot easier, and it was worth it. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jaya Estrada, and I got the job. I worked at Visalia Medical Healthcare Clinic on Dinuba Boulevard. I got it through the Sea Youth program. It was a really good experience. I thank you for the opportunity. This program gives us students a good opportunity to learn know how it's going to be when you work. And I went to summer school, and I took civics and econ. I saw how it's going to be like when I go to college and I start paying for my own stuff. And I woke up at 7 in the morning, got out at 12:30 from civics and econ every day, and going to work right after, I saw how it's going to be, having a full schedule. And I think this is really good because the kids need to appreciate what their parents do for them, and how this opportunity is just gonna make everything, just help everybody, because it's just a really good opportunity. I thank you guys so much, what you guys are doing for us.
Thank you.
So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 2 more young people who don't live. I would like them to introduce themselves and say where they worked.
I'm Desiree Zillion. I worked at County Council this summer, and last summer I was at the WIB.
My name is Adrian Diano. I work at the Defenders Corps through CCC, and I'm really thankful that they gave me the opportunity to work there during the summer. And well, I was working at McDonald's, but I wanted some experience outside. And I went to the Defenders Corps, and I got some skills, some training that really helped me. Really thankful that you gave me that chance, and I wouldn't mind doing that again.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time out of a busy agenda to hear from some of the kids, and we wanted to make sure you saw how an investment on the county side and with some Workforce Investment Act monies can change kids' lives and provide a pipeline of future employees for the county as well. So thank you.
Don't run off. Supervisor Workley.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say, Adam, when you first spoke about a pipeline, I thought I appreciate the fact you assumed the sale. And then I found out that the sale's already been made, and we already have 2 people who are being hired and are applying. And so I don't know that we recall that kind of a quick connection in the past. And so I'm very grateful to see that kind of, we usually thought of it more of sort of a long-term objective of introducing people to public service and work, and hoping that we might in the future reap some reward, but to have an immediate return like this is commendable. And I think the added aspects of the training that comes with that, when we used to just, the program in the old days was sort of, okay, you're here, we put you to work. And this idea that we actually give students the opportunity to learn about what it means, work ethic and so forth, I think is very commendable. In the world we live in today, that's a scarce commodity, and I think that's probably as valuable as the work experience itself. So I just want to say congratulations, and thanks to the Workforce Investment Board and our partners, CSET and the others, for making it work out so well. It's really, it was during my chairmanship that we were able to reinstitute this, and it's gratifying to see that it's been so successful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Did I hear correctly that there were 90 participants?
Yes, there were 90 placements.
And last year, didn't we have about 300 participants countywide?
Countywide, yes, including WEA, and countywide was 274, including.
Right. That's why I wanted to make sure we weren't going down by 2/3.
Yeah.
It's a minimum.
Yeah.
Last year I had the opportunity to speak to the incoming group of interns. An awesome opportunity to see all those bright and shiny eyes at like what's it 7:30 or so in the morning that first day we started. But it was, I know it's a great opportunity to have these young folks work in the county, and I appreciate the dedication, Adam, that your staff has. I know Donna's very dedicated to this work, and I know she does a very good job, so I want to applaud Donna for her hard work and effort that she puts into this, because she's one of those people that she's not working behind the scenes with the kids, because the kids see her there all the time, but I think you're working behind the scenes, and we don't see everything you do. So thank you for all the work that you do, and good job, well done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, congratulations to the students, to the WIB, to CSET and C, our great partners, as always. It's just interesting to me that each and every one of the students / employees mentioned opportunity, and that's exactly what it is. I can't help but think back to my first time trying to get a job, and on your resume, what is your work experience? Well, babysitting, and that was just my younger brothers. But so how great is it to, I always wonder about that, and you students have probably experienced that. You go get a job and you fill it, you try to get employment. Well, what's your work experience? Well, I don't have any. Okay, well then we can't hire you because you don't have any work experience. Well, how are you going to get experience if no one ever hires you? It's that chicken egg thing, but I think it's great, and then plus the additional training, which has got to be so helpful. So it was great. I'm glad that you weren't so nervous that you couldn't talk to us a little bit. It's really not that bad. Very excited for you and very happy. And for the record, learning how to get up and be on time is not always easy. Some of us struggle with that forever. No comments from you, Supervisor Worthley. Anyway, congratulations to all of you. I'm very happy to see you and look forward to seeing many of you in the future. Thanks.
Chairman, I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Adam and Donna for your hard work. I serve on the Workforce Investment Board, and this is a great program, very great program, because it teaches these kids how to dress for success and how to be a part of the community and get some experience necessary to see if this is what I want to do. Do I want to do this job? Well, maybe the next year come back and work in a different department and find out what you really, truly want to do. But it's a great experience, great program, and so proud of all of you. Thank you.
It's one of the highlights of the 3 years I've been on the board. This is our second year that we've been able to have this program. It's good news, and it's really good news when we look at the collaboration that goes on between CSET, the Workforce Investment Board, and Board of Supervisors, and other nonprofits that participate in this program. So I puts a smile on my face, and it gives a lot of our youth an opportunity. And I hope our youth understand what type of opportunity it is as Supervisor Ennis just mentioned, you have a chance to work in fields, and maybe you have a chance to work in another field next year. But you can make up your mind as to what you want to do for the rest of your lives. And if you like what you do, you will absolutely be successful. So thank you very much for the program.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll.
I think they should.
We can do the consent calendar next and get the list of people if you want to do.
Also, after we do consent, if he just does a consent calendar, another group will leave. Do that.
Okay, now we'll take up the consent calendar, items 3 through 11. We need to pull item 10 for clarification on a revised attachment.
Motion to approve items on the consent calendar, pulling item 10.
Been moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please cast your vote. The motion passes unanimously. So, moved to item 10.
Morning, members of the board. My name is John Hess. I'm a community development specialist with the Tulare County Redevelopment Agency. As you may be aware, the redevelopment agency is currently in the process of amending the Pixley redevelopment project area. This amendment will add 5 parcels to the existing boundaries of the project area, which were approved previously and adopted by your board. Today before you is the preliminary report for the amendment process. This report includes several findings as well as an attachment for the auditor's report as prepared pursuant by Health and Safety Code section 33328. As in your report, it is incomplete, so as Michelle just handed out is the full attachment that will make the report complete, and that's why I'm here today, to let you know that that will complete the document. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Is there a map showing I noticed in our staff report we didn't have a map showing
I
the
don't
added
believe there is a
parcel.
map included in the preliminary report, but when the redevelopment plan comes before you, there is a map indicating the 5 parcels.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say that a lot of work has gone into this, a lot of hard work. We appreciate staff work on that. But the community has been very much involved in the development of this plan. And for those of you that are aware of the issues in my district, Pixley is one of the mainstays, and nothing gets by those folks, so to speak. So there's been, I can guarantee you, complete and total collaboration with the community on this plan.
Thank you.
Okay, so no other questions? Move approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please cast your vote. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we have a public hearing, item number 2, scheduled for 9:30. Mr. Finney? And Mr. Bryant?
Again, George Finney with the Resource Management Agency. Thought I'd just give a couple of brief introductory comments before I turn it over to Dave. The appeal this morning deals with the question of what is an appropriate reuse of a pre-existing land use that really predates all current plans and policies for a particular area. In this case, clearly the Sierra View Golf Course, what used to be the Sierra View Golf Course, without it, there is no real basis for the proposed project. I think the Planning Commission struggled with that particular issue and trying to work with the applicants on a design that would fit the site without adversely impacting the surrounding area. That includes both the existing subdivision tract, which is surrounded by the golf course, and the surrounding agricultural area. The Planning Commission ultimately denied the planned development application when it became clear that the developers were not willing to deviate from their proposed design, which is pretty much an extension of the existing subdivision tract that is surrounded by the golf course. The density of that particular project is about 1.5 units per acre, and I think the Planning Commission felt that simply was an inefficient land use. But anyway, I thought I'd just lead off with some introductory comments and sort of set the stage for what Dave is going to present to you in the way of some alternatives to consider. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Dave Bryant, Division Manager, Special Projects, Resource Management Agency. Case number PD 07001 and tentative map 774 is requested by Mangano Homes in order to enable a 113-acre site to be converted from a former golf course into a single-family residential subdivision with common areas and a public facility area on property located east of the intersection of Road 124 and Liberty Avenue, Avenue 264, south of Visalia. The project, as you can see, again, located south of the city of Visalia, approximately 1 mile east of Mooney Boulevard and southeast of Mooney Grove. A plan development is required in conjunction with the tentative map in order to allow the proposed mixed uses of 176 single-family dwelling units, 2 common area lots, 1 public facility lot, and the utilization of City of Visalia development standards. The plan development is also required in order to allow for the proposed private drives, which would provide for alley access, medians, circular driveways, and the retention of existing oak trees on the site. The site is currently zoned Plan Development Rural Residential. This PDRA zoning allows residential development at suburban densities. A change of zone is not required, however, as the general plan amendment recently approved by your board is consistent with the PDRA zone established for the project area. As I just mentioned, your board on June 19th approved General Plan Amendment GPA 06005 to change the land use designation from rural residential and agriculture to planned residential. Also included as part of that General Plan Amendment was to include the site entirely within an urban development boundary and an urban development boundary shown on the map by the red line is the urban area boundary, and the black line would be reflective of the site being included within an urban development boundary. The amendment also repealed general plan text that required development in conjunction with the former golf course. In addition, your board certified the final environmental impact report and a statement of overriding considerations for the project. During hearings before the Planning Commission, as George indicated, the Commission requested that the applicant consider design alternatives for the project, which called for fewer numbers of units and more open space. However, the applicant requested that the Commission consider the project as submitted. Therefore, on July 11th, the Planning Commission denied Plan Development 07001 and TM 774 on a 5-to-1 vote as contained in your Exhibit D. The county subdivision ordinance requires that a subdivision map conform to all zoning requirements applicable to the site. In a PD zone, a specific plan development, or development agreement must be established before a tentative map is approved. If your board is inclined to grant the appeal, you must consider Plan Development 07001 first before acting on tentative map 774. In addition, it is recommended that the public hearing remain open, since the government code requires a final decision regarding a tentative map within 10 days if a public hearing is closed. Staff requests your consideration of 3 alternatives regarding the proposed project. Number 1, to uphold the Planning Commission's decision of July 11th and deny the appeal based on the findings of the Planning Commission as contained in resolutions 8237 and 8238. Alternative 2 would be to direct staff to issue a tentative decision, grant the appeal, continue the hearing, and direct staff to prepare appropriate findings and conditions of approval. The draft resolutions contained in the Planning Commission packet of June 27th could form the basis for the findings and conditions of approval. Alternative 3 would issue a tentative decision to grant the appeal, but direct the project to be modified as per your pleasure. The hearing would need to be continued for preparations of findings for the conditions of approval. That completes staff presentation. I'd be happy to address any questions that you may have regarding the project.
Do we have any
Just one quick question, if I may. The reason, if we were to grant the appeal, the reason for leaving the hearing open is to allow you to go back and make the appropriate findings?
That's correct.
Aren't those appropriate findings, haven't they already been made in the recommendation of the Planning Commission? They just were not approved by the Planning Commission?
They were not approved by the Planning Commission. There were discussions between the developer and staff yesterday requesting some minor modifications that would provide an opportunity for staff to work with the developer to fine-tune those areas of concerns and then bring those back to you for final consideration.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to address this matter, please approach the podium. Please identify yourself and your address.
Yes, sir. My name is Robert Dowds with Mangano Homes, 1005 North Demery in Visalia. If I may, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approach the clerk and hand out some fresh maps as well. I wanted to make sure that you folks had clean copies of the map in case you had questions. One is just the tentative map. The second is the aerial photo with the same map. I wanted to start my comments by thanking planning staff for their comprehensive and thorough review. Also, I want to thank our neighbors who have taken time out of their schedule to be here today. It's very important that you folks are here, and I'm glad that you folks have chosen to be here. We began working on this project back in 2004 when it was owned by the previous owners of the golf course. And by about the first quarter of 2005, we began to meet with different stakeholders to determine what an appropriate reuse of this property would be and to develop a plan. And more specifically, we met and gathered direction and comments from planning staff, Liberty School District, the Tulare County Farm Bureau, and perhaps most importantly with our neighbors and surrounding property owners. We've worked diligently for about 18 months now on environmental investigation, engineering, and design to develop a plan that we believe is sensitive to the existing residents, thoughtfully considers the natural environment, and focuses on physical elements of community design. We propose a plan that attempts to minimize conflicts with the adjacent uses. It utilizes the existing mature vegetation that's on the site, and it's sensitive to the ongoing agricultural operations. The Planning Commission has reviewed and recommends certification. Ultimately, the board certified the environmental impact report, which also has a comprehensive plan to mitigate impacts associated with this project, including traffic, biological resources, etc. Now, previously, the Planning Commission voted to recommend certification of the EIR, but also for approval of the general plan amendment and change of zone. However, as George has described, we find ourselves at odds with the Commission on how to carve the property up. The overall zoning with the PD overlay would allow anywhere from as little as 100 up to 600 units on the property. And I clearly understand planning goals of higher density, and we know that our Commission is well studied and educated in these concepts, and where they see perhaps a condo project or transit-oriented design, light rail, or increased housing density, or even mixed use, and even descriptions related to the Visalia's proposed Southeast Master Plan. I think these are all good things, and on many levels the Commission may be right. I think that they're trying to be proactive and progressive, but the plan, specifically this plan that we propose, takes into account significant input and direction from the existing neighborhood. This plan is sustainable, takes into account the existing environment, but is also economically sound. It saves the healthy, mature trees, as have been identified by one of our local arborists, incorporates the existing vegetation into the lots, the roadways, the curvilinear roads, and the medians. We also have plans to develop walking trails and bicycle trails, and it's somewhat reflected on the open space plan. And we have over 2 acres of pocket parks, and as well as the basin has been designed and oversized and shelved to not only function for storm drainage, but also to be an amenity to the project as well. And as part of this development, we propose to install dry sewer lines and to replace the existing roadway surfaces within that existing subdivision, so that in time the entire area will look and function as one neighborhood. The County Department of Environmental Health has reviewed and approved our proposal to utilize individual septic systems based upon our field studies in compliance with existing adopted regulations. We propose to develop the property to City of Visalia standards. This is a major reason why we have the PUD request before you, as well as to record now consent to annex forms to provide for easy incorporation in the future. The storm drain system, roadways, and open space will be maintained by the property owners through assessment. And I do want to make one minor note of a change that's reflected in the map that I handed out to you, and that is that the City of Visalia has requested additional right-of-way along the Santa Fe Trail, or the track rather, in order to develop a Rails to Trails program now. And I'm assuming that's in association with Measure R funding that's available. So the additional right-of-way is now reflected on the map without any substantial change or effect to the subdivision. Bottom line, we request your support to allow this plan to proceed because it's consistent with the purpose and the intent of the zoning. It's locally appropriate, and we believe it's sensitive to the surrounding properties. With me today, we have our consulting engineer. He can answer specific questions that you may have from a technical nature, but otherwise, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have of me.
You mentioned the Santa Fe right-of-way. Is that lot C and D? Is that what that?
I don't have the map in front of me, but I believe that would be the case.
25
feet
okay.
in depth.
It's called you call it here a landscape easement, but that's the right-of-way there across the Santa Fe Railroad?
Correct, and we don't know specifically how we described it as an easement on the map. If it wants to be an actual lot, we've actually described it potentially as a lot here, which would then be dedicated in favor of the county.
But it'll be maintained lot. It says land, so you'll maintain that as a landscape area.
I have to be honest with you. That is something that we have not determined yet, and it's something that we would be interested in. But there's a practical issue of having a portion behind houses that doesn't go anywhere in either direction. So I think we would be open to that. In fact, it would be an amenity to the project if we had a trail system that actually connected to Tulare and or Visalia. So we would be supportive in forwarding that goal.
Thank you.
A question, Mr. Dowd. First off, I want to commend the design of the idea of putting roads and open space in areas that protect. To me, it would appear to protect agricultural property by creating buffers and separation. I noticed that the lots on the north end of it are very deep lots, and we're showing some houses up on the what would appear to be the northeast corner. Are there CC&Rs or whatever that would indicate the houses have to maintain a certain distance from the backs of their lots? In other words, to keep that kind of open space or that gap between agricultural property and actual dwellings?
Agricultural mitigation and dealing with that urban conflict, we anticipate that the ag and urban interface will be here for quite some time. In consultation with the Farm Bureau, they suggested that all habitable structures be 150 feet away from existing agricultural operations. So that's what this map reflects in two different scenarios. One, we have a single loaded road to the south, and then the other, we actually back up houses. There'll be two means of administering this. One is be through the CC&R's recorded document on the property, which states specifically where those houses could be placed. We've pre-plotted some just to demonstrate how that could work. Furthermore, we've incorporated it as mitigation within the environmental document as well. So there's multiple layers to enforce it.
Thank you.
Mr. Dow, not a real technical question, but in your CC&Rs, what is the minimum what size homes would you be building in this project?
You know, Mr. Shida, we have not completed a comprehensive market program. So for me to answer that, I don't know specifically. I would imagine that a project of this type, you know, minimum square footages well, we're showing minimum square footage of 2,400 on our pre-plots. So that shows you the intent of what we're looking at, but we haven't chosen product or come up with a comprehensive plan to meet the market. So I don't know yet.
Questions?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
You got the oven.
My name is Marie Medford, and I am one of Mangano Homes' neighbors. I can only urge you to go along with the plan that is before you now. They have taken into consideration all of our worries. They've given us a place for our doggies, which we love very much. And they've given us all of the amenities that we have asked for, is for open space and for our roads and everything else. We see no reason as a neighborhood, as a very small neighborhood, I agree, but we are as one in this small neighborhood, that if Mangano Homes is going to build homes around us, this is the plan that we would like to see go forward. Thank you.
Any other comments on this project, on this public hearing? Council, we're not closing the public hearing, or should we?
No.
As I understand it, staff is asking that you leave the public hearing open to allow for time for approval of the tentative map. If you close the public hearing, we're going to start the time running on approval of the tentative map, and that's going to create some serious problems.
Mr. Chair, with that, I would make a motion to approve alternate number 2, issue a tentative decision to grant the appeal, continue the hearing, and direct staff to prepare appropriate findings and conditions of approval and the rest of that paragraph.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kenny?
Avoid having to give another notice of hearing. Can we get a time certain on when to bring it?
Could you lift that?
Can we get a time certain on the continuance?
To avoid having to give another notice.
How long do you need to do it?
I think in 3 weeks. You're meeting in 3 weeks?
Well,
What would that date be, Michelle? August 28th? So I would amend my motion to continue to a date certain, August 28th. Do we need to vote again?
Yeah, we need to vote again.
Acceptable to the second?
Mr. Ennis, is that acceptable to you?
Yes.
Okay, please cast your vote. Motion carries unanimously as amended. Thank you.
Saving all this stuff.
Okay, moving to untimed items, moving to item 12. Ms. Woodard.
Good morning, Chairman Ishida, members of the board. Ms. Bennett, Ms. Bales-Lang.
Thank you for not calling us gentlemen.
Or elderly.
I'm more sensitive to that than others.
Of course, it could have been worse. I should just be quiet.
We're here today to ask that the Board of Supervisors approve the Special District's candidate statement regulations and printing fees for the November 6, 2007 Consolidated District Selection, and require each candidate statement filing a statement to pay in advance the estimated cost. The estimated fees will be adjusted to actual upon completion of the election. The candidates will be refunded or billed for the difference. The fee schedule is attached to the agenda item. We also want to limit each candidate's statement to no more than 200 words for special districts. I have With me today are the Chief Deputy Hailey Wallace and the Elections Division Manager Colin Strachan, if you have any questions that are in detail.
Mr. Chair, I do have one really quick question. As I look through the registered voters and so forth, it looks like we've got a minimum fee of $300. There's one irrigation district with 10 voters who has the same fee to print their ballot statement as the ones that have, sometimes 100 or a couple hundred voters or several hundred voters. Is that just a minimum? That's the minimum of what it would cost us to do that?
Yes, it is. It's the printing cost and the mailing cost and stuff. It's not the number of, it's the whole thing that's considered, not just.
Okay. I wouldn't suggest it, but you could take each one of those 10 people to lunch and it would cost you less than the $300.
It works out that way sometimes.
Heck of a pizza party.
Heck of a pizza party.
If nobody files, though, do you even have to print it on the ballot if there's no election?
Vice Conway, I didn't hear that.
I didn't either.
Oh, it's probably something I should know. I mean, if there, I know that sometimes there isn't an election because they don't file, or it's only incumbents or whatever. Are those aren't printed in?
Correct.
Okay, so they wouldn't, so if in this little 10 registered voter district, if there's no need to be on the ballot, then they wouldn't have to pay, is that correct?
That's correct.
See?
It's optional. Just don't have those 10 voters all run for the same spot.
Any other questions?
I would just hope these estimates are a lot closer than they were last year.
It's a lot easier to collect the money up front and refund than it is to say, we'll bill you and collect someone who doesn't win.
Yeah, especially losers.
Yes.
Well, I second Supervisor Cox's comment that we need to make sure that our estimates are a lot closer than they were the last time.
Hailey Wallace. I'm currently the Chief Deputy Treasurer Tax Collector. And to address that, we actually make the estimates based on one candidate filing for that district, so that they're not shocked at the end of the election, if they were the only one in there, that they'd get this huge bill. So that's why there are refunds issued for the most part on most of these, because more than one will file. Mm-hmm. But that's the basis that we go on. So that's
worst case scenario, essentially.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and that's why the estimates may seem askew, but in fact they are for one individual. So.
Well, I feel it's very important that we look at the worst case scenario when we do these fees, because it's like you said, it's difficult to collect from someone who does not win, and it's also a shock to those who win and did not win when the additional bill comes. So,
Chairman,
appreciate being conservative.
Chairman, I would move approval. Item 12.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 13.
Good morning, Board. Brett Fussell, Assistant Director with the Resource Management Agency. The item before you this morning is a request by the Three Rivers Community Services District for the Board of Supervisors to approve their resolution of intention to form an assessment district, in addition to approve the plat or map that establishes the boundary line for the proposed assessment district. The Three Rivers Community Services District has been successful in obtaining both a grant and a loan to upgrade and rehabilitate an aging water system. The grant is in the amount of $550,000 and the loan is in the amount of $2,027,000. The combination grant and loan is from the U.S. Department of Agricultural Rural Development Department. And the USDA-RD is requiring that the CSD form an assessment district to ensure repayment of the loan provisions. The CSD has the legal authority to form the assessment district under the Municipal Improvement Act of 1913. However, Streets and Highways Code Section 10104 requires that whenever a legislative body is that other than a city or county, such as the CSD in this case, that they must obtain the approval from the legislative body prior to moving forward with their assessment district. So that's the reason that the item is before you today. There will be no financial involvement or any other involvement by the County of Tulare or the Board of Supervisors other than your action this morning approving the resolution of intention and the map. In addition, I did have to substitute some documents into your packet this morning. At the time the packet was submitted, the CSD board had not adopted their resolution requesting your action this morning, so that is in your packet to give you an updated resolution. In addition, I did not have the map or plat with the signature of the engineer that prepared the assessment diagram, and that needed to be in your packet. Mr. Rex Black with the CSD is in your chambers this morning and is available to respond to any questions regarding their project if you so desire. And with that, I'd respond to any questions that you have and then request that you favorably approve their request. Thank you.
Just quick, so no voting on this? Would they have to vote to assess themselves?
Yes, they will have to follow the Proposition 218 requirements and basically the publication of the resolution of intention and also the notice, the resolution establishing the date of the vote and release of ballots, and then that would have to be at least 45 days out in order to accommodate the Prop 218 requirements. They cannot begin that process until your action today.
And they're aware that there is a fee from the tax collector to put this on the tax rolls.
I'm sure that they, hopefully they are aware. If not, Mr. Black heard it this morning.
Thank you.
The comment I'd like to make is that because of the increased awareness of water issues, especially in the foothill mountain communities, the CSDs, I believe, are going to become a larger entity than they have in the past to serve more and more people. And some of these facilities are rather old and need some major revamping. So I think this is the right way to do what they're doing up in Three Rivers.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I was going to say I was going to commend the Special Services District because obviously this is a need, but this is not something which happens because you wish it would happen. There's a lot of work involved in doing that, and so appreciate the effort that's been made and to get this funding, and it will all benefit from this, not only the community. I'd be glad to make a motion then to, as requested of the board on items 1 and 2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please cast your vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Board.
Very much. Moving to item 14, public comments. Is there anyone wishing to address this board on matters that are under its jurisdiction but not on the agenda? Seeing none, we're going to close the public comment period, and we'll move to supervisor matters. Supervisor Ennis.
Really don't have a whole lot to talk about this week. Wednesday night I'll be going up to California Hot Springs with Fire Chief Sunderland to discuss some issues up there, so kind of looking forward to going up there and seeing those folks. I never got a chance to get up there when I was running for office, so it's always good to see people and see what their needs are.
Okay. Supervisor Conway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last Friday, actually, I had an opportunity to attend an event that I've attended in the past. It's sponsored by the Tulare Chamber of Commerce. It's a new teachers luncheon where they welcome any new teachers, and some were very new teachers, and I am definitely old after I sat at the luncheon and got to meet some of the new teachers, but any teacher that's new to the district is, the chamber sponsors a lunch. It's an opportunity for the teachers to meet members of the business community and just to kind of welcome. And actually the featured speaker was Mr. Bill Coate, who we've all seen through our San Joaquin Valley Regional Supervisors Association. He was very inspirational. It was just really a nice thing, and I suppose because I've always attended this, it just maybe, I don't want to say took it for granted, but not all chambers, not every district sponsors something like this, so it was a really nice event. Mr. Coate really took notice of that and was very appreciative. This Thursday, there will be a meeting that's getting more interesting by the moment. It's sponsored by the partnership, as you know, that I chair, the California Partnership for the San Joaquin Valley, but it will be a meeting between the High-Speed Rail Authority, members of the executive committee, and any member of the partnership board that would like to be there, the work groups that are involved with it. As I say, it's growing by the moment, in as much as 2 days ago we had a request from Lieutenant Governor Garamendi to get on the agenda. He's going to come and address us. And he referred to the fact that although now Congressman Costa is considered the father of high-speed rail, that he's the uncle because he was part of that legislation. And 15 minutes after that, Congressman Costa called, and he was also going to be on the agenda. So there will be, as I say, the meeting's growing. It is open to the public. It will be held in Hanford. It begins at 10 o'clock. It's scheduled to run from 10 to about 3 in the Government Center in Hanford. So I've alerted appropriate people. I know the city of Visalia and others have taken interest in routes and how this all works. So I've made sure that everybody's gotten the most updated agenda for anyone who would like to attend or has interest in that. And then Friday will be our quarterly meeting, also being held in Hanford as we move these around. The California Partnership will actually be having a quarterly meeting. We've got a lot of things on our agenda. Energy, I mean, there'll be report backs. Some of our grant funding has been funded and these projects are getting started. So although it makes for a long day, I'm actually looking forward to it. So it'll be very interesting. Once again, that's a meeting that's open to the public. Yes.
Is there a subset of the partnership, the air quality working group meeting today in Fresno? Because I remember I was invited, but then because of our board meeting, none of the supervisors can be in attendance. But
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
They're working on, they're also folded into the working group that's starting this clean energy office, if you will. That's really a clearinghouse. It's not to impose regulation. They have no regulation ability. This was one of the grant proposals that was partially funded. I mean, the partnership didn't provide complete funding. It's a private-public agreement, which, of course, that's what the partnership's all about. But, yes, they are meeting, and that's really to provide an opportunity to distribute and kind of be a clearinghouse, if you will, for people to understand what's available to them, what the regulations are, because as you know, as chairing the air board, sometimes that can be confusing, and people are confused. In particular, everything they read in the paper is not necessarily true. So if that's their only way to get information, and I did not wait till the press left to say that. It's just, it was an opportunity that the partnership felt was important to the entire valley. Unfortunately, yeah, they have meetings on Tuesdays when board members are not available.
Most of the press left.
Well, it's not to bash them.
Supervisor Cox.
You missed Wednesday on your...
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to let you talk about that. Because you and I will both be there.
Tomorrow, we have Senator Boxer coming to town. We'll have a joint press conference with her at the Boys and Girls Club. We'll talk about the loop. And Supervisor Conway is speaking shortly. I'm speaking shortly. And Senator Boxer will take up the majority of the time. But I've gone to the trouble of having a poster or billboard made that highlights the loop, and that stating that it is a joint partnership between the County of Tulare and City of Visalia, that we will make sure is in a prominent place behind the senator as she's holding her press conference with the Measure R logo on it as well. So that happens tomorrow morning.
That's loop, not loot, right?
Loop.
We wish there was some loot involved in the senator's visit.
Yeah, that's always the hope. Mr. Chairman, yesterday I joined senior staff from the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District and traveled to Sacramento to meet with Mary Nichols, the new governor's appointee to the chair of the California Air Resources Board, and met with some of the industry folks, representatives of agriculture, to meet about talk about our 8-hour ozone plan, and just have an exchange of ideas and information. My first time meeting Mrs. Nichols, seemed like a very pleasant person. Did leave open the door that there may be some question about the plan which has already been approved by CARB and now goes to the EPA. But obviously she has a relationship dating back a number of years with some of the other individuals who were there. Manuel Cunha has known her very well for some years, and so I think she brings to the table someone who has the respect of both the environmental community and the industrial community, and I think that she gives a real opportunity to move forward. Also, there was, talking about air quality, there's been some reference made in the Fresno Bee recently to a poll that was taken about air quality, and it's somewhat illuminating because 60% of the people thought air quality was degrading when actually we know it's much improved over the last 20 years. In fact, 70% of the people didn't even know that there was a San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. So, Sarah, I guess people aren't reading the papers. I don't know, but anyway, the executive director is working on an op-ed piece to kind of take off on that and encourage, continually put out the message to people that air quality is improving, and that yet to meet the new federal standards, we have a long ways to go. It'll be a long fight. So that's the latest and the greatest.
Thank you for illuminating that survey. We've only got, I haven't seen it in its totality. And, when you get bits and pieces of information, of course, then I'm always curious as to who actually responded to the survey. But
Tomorrow I'll be traveling to San Jose with a meeting on redevelopment. Mr. Hash will also be there, our resource management director. And other than that, that's the end of my comments. Short today. Council, do we have need for closed session?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you do. You have items A through F as indicated in your closed session, regular agenda, and addendum. And I do have one announcement regarding item A that I'll make as your board clears and adjourns to closed session.
Thank you. I want you to know this is the shortest part of our meeting.
What's new?
Madam Clerk.
Steve, did you keep getting an invitation to some meeting tomorrow in Washington, D.C. about the survey you alluded to?
Oh, I
Ready?
didn't see anything.
Announcement at a closed session today, August 7th, 2007,
First of
by
all, it
Kathleen
doesn't
Bales, Lyon
fit my
Council.
schedule, but that's
In the matter of
Washington,
Hager
3-day
versus County of
trip to go to
Tulare et
Washington,
al.,
D.C.
Tulare County Superior Court Case Number 07-223615. Item A on the board's closed session agenda, the board voted to defend the litigation and to defend the individual employee defendants with the reservation of rights. This was done on motion of Supervisor Cox, seconded by Supervisor Worthley on a unanimous vote. You're coming back. F.
Everyone's on vacation all week.
Voting machines. Yes. Yes.
Expect any more announcements?
No.